I would like to introduce the North Star of our school, Marjorie Buckley.
Thanks a lot, Whitney, for asking me to say in 4 to 5 minutes what NCOBS means to me. Why NCOBS is special, and oh yeah, I just throw in my emotional attachment to the school while I'm at it. Talk about a challenge. I just soon try to roll off Hogspill with my eyes closed. But hey, I think I did that. In fact, I don't think I could have done it with my eyes open. So let's give this a go. Diane and John just asked how many of you were connected to North Carolina Outward Bound in 1967. Now I want to know how many of you were born in 1967. Well, I won't give the exact year, but I was born when German U-boats were sinking Sir Lawrence Holt's ships in the North Atlantic, before the words outward bound meant anything more than a ship leaving port. Consequently, I have more than 50 years of memories to choose among today. So I'm going to begin with some years ago. I was at a wedding on Martha's Vineyard, and I was chatting with two friends of the bride who were classmates of hers at the Harvard School of Education. And these girls said to me, "We hear that the North Carolina Outward Bound School is different, that it's the best place to experience authentic Outward Bound." Yes, that's exactly right. North Carolina Outward Bound is special because from the beginning, our disability, as we often say, was our opportunity. Without the dramatic peaks of the Rockies or the vast wilderness of the Quetico. From day one, North Carolina Outward Bound School was focused on program authenticity. Some of our first instructors were recruited from abroad, from the cradle of Outward Bound. And our instructors, you folks, have remained the core of our school. You define North Carolina Outward Bound. Great field instructors like John Huey and Dave Mashburn, whom I met when dinosaurs first roamed the gorge in 1965. They were the real deal, who first stoked our hopes for this school. And as John Huey reminds us now, there is an enduring, authentic relevance for the North Carolina Outward Bound School. It is grounded in the field, where its instructors allow the best qualities of the human spirit to grow in the individual student. Before I roll off this salvage soapbox, I want to remind us that from the beginning, our courses have been rooted in the ancient wisdom that inspired Kurt Hahn to impel the individual into experience that leads to self-knowledge and thence to a personal desire, even a passion, to serve others. To allow this to happen, our instructors are highly skilled facilitators rather than lecturers about one social or political ideology. NCOB's instructors patiently trust Kurt Hahn's process to resonate and awaken within students the capacity to serve in their own way, in any climate, any season, knowing that authentic Outward Bound is a life lesson, not one fitted for the trials of the day. Speaking of relevance, Steve Jobs once said, "Here's to the crazy ones," the ones who see things differently, because the crazy ones, they're crazy enough to think they can change the world, and they're the ones who do. To all of you instructors and folks like Linda who run the place, and to a staggering number of board members, you are the crazy ones. Each and every one of you crazies are changing the world through the lives of our students who find within themselves the joy of service. So Whitney, what NCOBS means to me is its authenticity. Before I get carried away up here on my soapbox, I want to thank a specific member of our circle who has changed so many lives through Outward Bound, including my own, Deb Karn. When I spoke a year or so ago, I flipped a page too early and missed my heartfelt thanks to you, Deb. And I've been kicking myself for it ever since. Because if there's someone who deserves recognition for all the things she has done to serve Outward Bound, it's Deb. Thank you, Deb, wherever you are. And I've learned my lesson. I'm holding on tight to my paper today. Since April 1976, I've also held on to an antique sample of the school's earliest culture of authenticity. In a musty Durham motel conference room where we celebrated the school's 10th anniversary, Dan noted that the school had operated in that gray area between nonprofit and non-existent. But then he read an impressive mimeographed list. For all of you who were of school age in 1977, you probably have no clue what a mimeograph is, but you'll just have to Google that later. Or you could ask Jed Williamson, who's here with us today and was with us back then on the 10th anniversary, along with Josh Miner. So Dan's list of accomplishments in our first 10 years include, but are not limited to, the following half dozen. Designed and constructed a year-round American Outward Bound school like the originals in Great Britain. Number 2, pioneered the development of adult courses, including the short course for business managers, now Outward Bound Professional. Developed and instituted a course reporting system based on student evaluations. Obtained college accreditation for the standard Outward Bound course. Initiated a nationwide conference on outdoor pursuits in higher education. And number 6, employed a woman in a full-time staff supervisory position. By the way, I think this last sort of move was Dan's specialty. When he and Rufus asked me to chair the board of directors, I knew asking a female to fill such a position certified him as a crazy of the first order. Even Steve Jobs wouldn't have believed it. Hadn't Dan noticed that Outward Bound was home base for educators who were rock star rock climbers? That its boards of directors were composed of captains of industry, professors of philosophy, as well as headmasters of the likes of Andover and Groton? All men, of course. Women were rarely even on those boards. And also on the 10th anniversary list, NCOBS was the first to offer co-ed courses to 16-and-a-half-year-olds and standard courses to 14 to 15-year-olds. Dan and Diane published the first book on an American Outward Bound program. And NCOBS was the first to institute humanistic service projects wherein students teach the physically handicapped. Getting there. Dan added to these stats that the school remained relevant to young people in the rebellious 60s and conservative 70s, reminding us nowadays that the authentic Outward Bound process does not preach a specific point of view. And then there are a few other incredible firsts I proudly recorded as a reminder of the special culture of this school when we were threatened by consolidation of all American Outward Bound schools. NCOPS elected the first African American member of an Outward Bound board of directors. We sent the first African American representative to Outward Bound USA governing body. Robert Brown is here celebrating with us today. We followed by sending the first female to that august body. And our board member, Charlie Stetson, founded the Outward Bound School in Lesotho, South Africa. John Huey and this school helped out. That was crazy stuff. Some would say that our unusually strong connection between staff and board is a bit on the crazy side, but this is just part of who we are. We know each other. We talk to each other. We laugh with each other. We argue with each other. Right, Brady? But we never, ever ignore each other. This is our school culture that makes our time here not just memorable, but somehow spiritual. This listing of memories has me on a roll. Sorry. I'll always remember dancing with Rufus at the Outward Bound USA Gala until all the other celebrants had given up, gone home, and the band quit. I'll never forget our daughter's 10-stanza poem with the telling title, 23 Days of Constant Rain. A salute to Jeff Lovett, one of her revered instructors. And I often think of the nighttime sky in these magnificent hills. Wasn't it wonderful last night? Along with our team memories, such individual keepsakes should never be left out when I try to express what North Carolina Outward Bound means to me. I'm sure all of you have a very long list, including your student who found the strength to push up the rest of the old long logging road, the one who became empowered to find her own voice, the student who broke free from self to celebrate her crew members' challenge mastered. Some things etched forever in our memories are agonizingly sorrowful. The image of John Lawrence playing his violin on the road near Sandy Hook Elementary School. The tragic loss of Travis Lizotte in Patagonia. Those memories put in perspective the sting of losing our precious Everglades sinker during Hurricane Irma, because we know the essence of the sinker will prevail in the joy of camaraderie from within those small walls. With all due respect to Kurt Hahn, and I would say perhaps above all, is the joy, the exuberant joy we find among each other going about changing the world. An instructor during our first 10 years, Maggie Fox, expressed it well for us to this day. NCOBS is a place in which to live well, richly, and high, a time out of mind in which days and moments are simple enough for me to be as good as I want to be all the time and to see that goodness emanating from other people. NCOBS is a community that exudes warmth and sincerity and downright simple love for other folks. It's a special place. Isn't that the truth? Yeah. Wish you were here, Maggie. We may be all crazy, but we are crazy together. I would say, and I believe you would join me in saying, that in our heart of hearts, this crazy band of NCOBS is and ultimately always has been about joy. The joy together, using all our gifts to change the world. For me, first and last and beyond all my thought is about this joy, for I have been lucky enough to know it by experience. No doubt I've doubled your allotted 5 minutes, Whitney, and where's Mike with his hook? My ever-loving husband reminds me that Lincoln's Gettysburg Address was 2 minutes. Even so, it's a special privilege to ramble on with you here today at the Salvage Station, living out a memory at the beginning of the next 50 years. I can't wait for all the new memories you will recount as you circle up for a future NCOB's anniversary. Just promise me one thing, you'll stay crazy. Please stay crazy.